21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
You know, it's a challenge when you're trying to scale past what you know already, especially as an entrepreneur. You can easily get in your own way, and that is what happened to me. And when I challenged myself to hit 7 figures in my business back in 2017, I realized that I had to become someone different in order to lead that business. When I challenged myself to hit that 7 figures, I also challenged myself to do it only using 10% of my time. So imagine what you've done before and it makes a top 6-figure income, and then you're wanting to cross a threshold and pausing to say, who do I have to become to hit that goal? But what if I did it with less of my time? What would that strategy be? And because of that, I was able to achieve that 7 figures in less than 6 months, having a different alignment of who I had to become in order to lead it, but most of all, get out of my own way. My name is Kareen Walsh, and I am an entrepreneur, investor, business advisor, coach, author, and podcaster. What's beautiful about my journey is that I found that I had to align who I truly am into all that I do in order for me to feel fulfilled in all of it. And so that stems from whether it's a company I'm choosing to invest in or a company that wants to hire me as their business coach advisor. Alignment was the key for me to step into success over the last 10 years of building this business. So how did I get here? Well, when I initiated my career back in the late 90s, and yes, I'm aging myself because I do find value in time. Time matters for you to get the right expertise in order to get into an advisory and strategic role. I initiated my career in technology. I never thought in my wildest dreams would I have joined a tech company and basically scaled in my career from being a business analyst to the head of mergers and acquisition operations in less than 5 years. And that was before I even turned 30. So my goal-getting side was always an action to find financial freedom in order to build the life that I truly enjoy. And I translate that now into the 20 plus years of experience that I have, not only in other people's companies as a top executive for a part of my career, but then launching my own business and helping companies scale and grow to 7, 8, 9-figure earnings with knowing who they have to become in order to lead it. That's the true differentiator that I love to step into. Through my career, I realized when I had to go into companies and make change, I needed to work with the leadership team. I had to align the C-suite in order to lead against the strategy they asked me to come in and assist them with. And without knowing who you have to become, it just doesn't work. You literally will hit some wall at some way. So I love to say your company is 100% a reflection of how you lead it. And so if you're not growing, your company won't grow either. And that's the motto I live by as I built my own career, which is ever changing. And the products and the solutions and the way that I interact with my clients is constantly evolving. I'll tell you that leaders don't want to hear that they're the problem, that they are in their own way for achieving the goals in their business. They always want to point the finger at that team member did something, or my clients aren't doing, etc. And I'm always telling them to point the 4 other fingers back to themselves about who do they have to become to lead it, because that's exactly what I had to do to build and scale my business. So in order to do that, you really have to be self-aware of how you're showing up, but also understand what does your business actually need to steer it. And in all of these coaching containers that I hold, whether it's through my mastermind or through my one-on-one coaching, or even, I'll do workshops for different groups, it is all about getting to the root of what's the vision, how do we make sure we align a strategy to that vision, and then that third question is all about who do you have to become to lead it. Because if you're not growing, again, your business won't grow. And that is something that even in myself, I was finding stunted with the capacity I have to actually manage all the business coming my way. How can I go and reach out to the clients, especially I have a lot of solopreneurs or entrepreneurs who are looking to scale in a service business, or even if they have an e-commerce business or a health and wellness business where they are the expert and they decided to build a business around their expertise, but then it always will have a capacity problem because they're not meant to have all the skills it takes to lead that business. Every single business needs, I call it a CEO Conundrum is what, and I actually have an exercise if anyone wants to do this quiz to figure out which role you're meant to play in your business, because it helps you get out of your own way. But the CEO Conundrum is basically you're either a creator, an entrepreneur, or an operator. And I have the definitions available to you if you want to check out what I mean between the 3. But most people fall between all 3 when they have control issues thinking, especially when they say things like, well, I'm the one that made this baby, so I have to lead this baby. And it's like, no, your business is not your baby. It is something that it's an asset that is meant to work for you, to have the freedom in your life that you want. It's meant to fuel your life, not run your life. So when I work with C-suite leaders, I'm always trying to, or entrepreneurs, I'm trying to help them identify what is their zone of genius and what is their ideal role that they are meant to play in that business, so you can go hire for the rest. I would say the number one challenge people have for growth in their role or growth in their business is that they feel like they have to do it all, but they also have a fear of who else to hire because they don't necessarily know the expertise required to hire that next person. So they are sitting in a conundrum and holding back the potential of their business because they are not clear around who they are and who to hire next. And I would say that was the biggest growth spurt for me, because I realized I cannot train somebody to approach business like I do. So the growth in my business, I literally was like, I need like 5 of me. How do I clone myself? How do I create 5 of me? And so what I love about technology today that has been so exciting, and I'm about to release this too, is that finally with AI, I actually found a way to clone myself. Because where I had fear in my service to my clients was that if I trained somebody to work for me as a coach or as a trainer or someone to do my methodology, that they would be off brand for me, or that they would approach something in a way that I would never approach that way, because it's a lot of that human behavior that goes into a coach's stance. And I didn't want to misstep or what's the right word? I didn't want to create false expectations with my clients that if they're hiring me, but I hand them off to someone else, that they will have a subpar experience. So what I've been able to do is clone myself in an app. It's called Hey Kareen, just like a Siri or Alexa. Now you have an on-the-go business coach, prompt that you could say, Hey Kareen, and go ahead and ask your business questions while you're in it. And my AI clone will answer you. Literally fed it over 2 million something records over time. All my books, my podcasts, my coaching sessions, everything has been put into this proprietary database that is a clone of me to serve you. And that is now the expansion I'm going into, where I didn't have to have the overhead of staff, but I am able to meet the demand that my network and my community has wanted from me. Like, Kareen, how can I carry you around in my pocket? This is what we were able to create, was this app that allows you to carry me around, talk to me. It literally has my voice and everything in it, and ask your questions to get the support you need as you grow and scale your business, or manage through challenges you're facing. Because that's the number one thing I love to do, is ad hoc coaching. And now you have it at your fingertips. So most people sit with a fear of how to interact with new technology when it's being launched. And let me tell you, I've been in this game so long, like literally when the .com era started and we were then told we could go shop online. Do you guys remember that? Where you didn't have to go to a store and you could go online and actually buy things. And now you see everybody every day is getting packages delivered. And it's created a whole logistical business structure and investable assets just for leveraging technology in a way to give us more convenience. Then you move into, and before .com was the software, right? Like we used to have discs. I know some of you are super young and you probably didn't even know what a disc is to download software or have a dial-up and all the things, but the evolution of technology has moved us so quickly that I know it is met with fear whenever there is change. And what I love about fear is that it doesn't exist in the present. And you actually don't know if you are sitting in reality unless you actually try. So here's the thing about AI. It can be scary, but you've been using it. You've literally had AI interaction, you just didn't know you had it yet. It has been the back end of search engines. It has been the back end of a lot of technology to serve you faster. You just didn't have exposure to it. So now what's really cool about the era that we're in and all these platforms coming out is that it brings ease and speed to getting you the answers you need so that you can take action in your life or business in a faster way. And that's the way I've chosen to embrace where we are with these technical advances, is because for me, someone who loves efficiency, someone who has zero patience, someone who is willing to learn something new and is quite curious, AI and all the platforms out there has been so much fun to explore. Yes, it can be overwhelming. How do you go ahead and use it? But this is why I built something that is in such a simple chat function, so that literally you ask any question you want, it's going to populate an answer with a question back so that it's coaching you in the moment to make sure you're getting what you need as a result for what it is that you want. So if you're sitting there with fear of what's this whole AI thing, just tell yourself you've already been using it. It's just more exposed and has a name now. And then ask yourself, what are the areas where I feel less efficient that I potentially could leverage technology to make it more efficient for me to have my time back on the things that I love to do? Because that's what it's doing for me. And it's also creating legacy for me. So not only has, I remember when I received the test app, my team, I was actually in Japan, which is pretty wild. I took this trip, personal trip, but of course I'm always, as an entrepreneur, I'm always checking in. Then my team delivered the test app to me of Hey Kareen. And the first time I had interaction with my clone, my AI portion of the app, I cannot express to you the freedom I felt, where I was like, I'm no longer the blocker to serve my clients. That was number one. Number two, in my my freedom energy was, oh my God, now I get to evolve past what I've been training and coaching and sharing and the models and all the things. Like I now can defer to her so that I can up level in my own way and evolve in my practice and who I want to work with and how I want to partner and the businesses that I want to build. Like I'm no longer the stopgap measure. And that freedom, I literally, it almost brought me to tears. Like I didn't think that that would be possible in this business that I built and the reputation that I have and the clients who come to me. And when they're not satisfied, I'm not satisfied. And I'm really, really excited about how leveraging this technology is now going to give me freedom, but it's also building legacy for me because I can continue to build this database. I can continue as I'm growing in my business, my learnings, et cetera. I can continue to feed it so that it serves a larger audience way faster than I ever could as an individual on this earth. And that's pretty cool too.
Every single day I feel the pressure. Double up the work, let's make it extra. Working so my mother get a rest, yeah. Working like I never knew I'm blessed, yeah. Every single day I feel the pressure. Diamonds in my eyes, I know I'm special. In the gym, I gotta.
So if you're asking yourself, what can you get out of using this platform? Number one, it's a centralized place where all my content lives. So if you're a paid member, you have access to the AI functionality. If you're an unpaid member, you still have access to all my content. So whether it's my podcast, any new content I create, my blog posts, the ability to ask a question, and then the system eventually will answer, but that is all available to you unpaid. If you're paid, you have access to my AI chat, which allows you to really get on the go support. So the how do I questions, or Kareen, have you ever questions? Like when, for example, I was testing it the other day and I was like, okay, I want to hire a CMO for my company. What are the key qualifications for a CMO that I should look for? You put that search in there, you ask that question literally. And then if you tell her too, can you give it to me in bullet form? She will give you exactly what you need to look for qualification wise, and then ask you some clarifying questions to refine it. You could literally get your job descriptions for future hires if you want, leveraging the AI. That's just one way to use it. I have 5 pillars that we focus on in the app. So it's leadership, self-care, because entrepreneurs and business leaders need to care for themselves better, mindset, money, as well as relationships. Because I believe those are the 5 pillars in order to continue to grow yourself and your business. So you can leverage that content, you can leverage the questioning, etc. Now, sometimes people ask, well, what if I have a hard question I want to ask? Is that saved somewhere? Are you monitoring my questions? Are you making sure that when I ask something, I can come back and continue to refine it? We have decided to launch the app in an anonymous way. Obviously, you download and you have your information in the system for the app stores that you get the app from. But in our system, and when you're dealing with the chatbot initially, it'll be anonymous. But in order for us to make that happen, we won't be able to at this point. Now, future versions, it could change. So I don't know, when you're listening to this podcast. So make sure you check what features are available to you. Hey, Kareen, now as you're listening. But basically, the chat that you have back and forth initially will not be saved. So you will have to just either screenshot it or copy and paste the text into something else initially, because we wanted to test with our entrepreneurs, especially those who want to make sure it's anonymous and not trace back to them, depending on how challenging that question might be. That's the functionality that's there. Now, in the future, if we get the demand for, hey, I really want to save my conversations because I want to come back to my conversations, I want to elaborate on them, I want to dialogue further, then we will turn that feature on and figure out the best way and the best user experience for you to have that. But that's we also will have set questions to start with. Some people come into the AI and they're like, I don't even know where to start. And then they ask something silly like, hey, Kareen, what's your favorite color? Which the answer's in there if you choose to ask that question. But if you come in and you're unsure like where to start, there are categories at the top too where you could select a common question that leaders have or entrepreneurs have to get started. and just feel it out and test it out and see how that works for you. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know if I want to trust technology to get the support I need, and Kareen, I really want to just be in the room with you, like I really just want to work with you, I'll tell you that you will go further faster if we are in the room together and I am under the hood of your business, because that's my specialty. I literally get all up in your business. So what I have offered to my clients lately, because I found that over time, a lot of coaches have that overtime sessions, weekly, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm an immersive person. So I have a half-day strategy session, and I actually just did one yesterday where my clients either come to me or I go to them, or we can do it virtually. But in that strategy session, we start the beginning of what I have is my evolved methodology. So we evaluate where you are in your business today. Then we make sure your vision is clear on where you want to take it. And then we start to strategize where you have to go next, as we know, also build who you have to become, because that is my differentiator, is always focusing on you in your business. So if you're interested in a half-day strategy session with me, you can go to kareenwalsh.com/half-day and get the information there and submit an application, and we will get on the phone and figure out how best I can serve you. So if you are sitting in your seat in your business and you're still unclear about that role that you are meant to play that is aligned with who you are, I really encourage you to go to heykareen.com/CEO and take my quiz. My CEO Conundrum quiz will help you identify exactly the role you're meant to play, and then help you figure out who to hire next to replace you on the things that you should no longer be doing in your business.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.